A very good evening and welcome to Formula Student Sim Racing, the only competition tonight where anyone British will probably win something. I'm Giles Cosgrove, and joining me in the commentary box is James Montgomery for round 6 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. We're going racing in Finland at Ahvenisto. We've got BMWs lined up for you, and it's going to be fantastic.
I can't put it any better than that, actually, Giles. It's an old school forest circuit. I can't wait to show you guys this once we get onto the live stream in a little bit of time. Some people may have heard about it. Ahvenisto. It's apparently Finland's proudest circuit. It's a figure of 8. It's right in the middle of the forest. These BMWs are doing times in about 1 minute 25, so it's not a huge circuit by any means. But it's tight, it's twisty, there's a lot of undulations, and not a lot of run-off road. There's actually a lake right in the middle of it with no crash barrier either. So if someone's going to spin off, they're going for a swim tonight, Giles.
They are indeed. It's all hotting up, all to play for as we head towards the grand final, which will be hosted very kindly by the Williams Formula One team at their HQ, just 45 minutes down the road from the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Very excited for that. That'll be round 8. So we've got a couple more rounds to go before that. And as things stand at the moment, looking at the qualifying, we've got the usual protagonists and some old favourites back in the running today. So some very exciting action heading your way tonight. So do not go anywhere. Shall we go over the standings as they are currently, James?
That sounds like a good shout. Right, let's go and hop on to what the standings are looking like at the moment, guys. So it has been believe it or not, it has been a really tight season so far. There were 3 main protagonists until round 4. Bolton, reigning champion Southampton, and new to the series this year, Glasgow. However, in the last 2 rounds, it's completely changed. Glasgow have seemed to have found their wings, that undoubted pace they had at the beginning of the season, finally capitalising on it and turning it into some very impressive results. In addition to this, Southampton, they're still there, the reigning champions, they're not that far behind. However, Bolton have had an absolute mare, is the only way I can describe it, of the last 2 races. They've scored really badly, and suddenly from championship leaders in round 4, they're almost 100 points behind Glasgow as we enter round 6. For context, there's 100 points to win per round, so they're basically 1 race win behind the championship leaders now. You kind of get the feeling that Glasgow... No, I was going to say, you kind of get the feeling Glasgow, they've bolted now, haven't they?
I was going to say, unless Glasgow have a DNF for a whole race for a weekend, there's no way that they can be caught, I don't think, because even if they don't get the maximum 100 points, they'll still be topping those points, and that gap's not going to close up. So they are off, for lack of a better phrase, they're off to the races.
Exactly. And to make matters even harder for Bolton as well for tonight, they've only got 1 driver, so they're having to sport a 1 driver penalty, a 1 driver entry penalty. For context, guys, that means that for race 2, they will have to start from the back of the grid, and they are limited to only half points in that second race as well. Kind of reminder, each university are fielding 2 drivers for tonight's round. Anyone who can only field a single driver entry, they're capped to half points in their second race and have to start at the back of the grid.
Absolutely. So that's how things stand at the moment in the series. We're going racing very shortly. The teams are currently qualifying. Last week, though, no shortage of drama, was there, James?
That's one way of putting it, Giles. After a heck of a lot of action going around in Goodwood, we thought we had seen Cardiff win the first race and Glasgow win the second race. In between all of that, there was a nice melee of driving, power slides. It was TCLs at Goodwood. I mean, you can't get better than that, really, can you? But the action didn't stop there, and actually, after the races were done, there was a couple of post-race protests, which meant that Cardiff, unfortunately, did not win that first race. We had to implement a 5-second penalty to them, which meant that Glasgow ended up winning both races last time out. Hence why they got such an extension in the championship lead now.
I think the word you're looking for is gargantuan.
Yeah, we'll go for gargantuan. So, yeah, very, very impressive to see it from them. But, I felt really sorry for Cardiff because they did a stonking drive, particularly their second race as well, from, 23rd to 5th by the end of the first lap?
Yeah, it was an absolutely stunning drive in both races from Aaron Farmer. And I must say, the first I heard about any sort of issue was on the Cardiff Racing Discord. We've got a Discord for the drivers, which I'm part of because I'm also a student at Cardiff University. I'm part of the Cardiff Racing team. And the first I'd heard about it was hearing it all go off on Discord. So I've not actually seen what was the cause of the penalty, but I believe, James, you've got it lined up so we can replay it and look back at what was the cause of all of this drama.
Of course, Giles. So let me just swap the camera around. Here we go. So here's the incident. So we're with Cardiff, they're in the red car. That's Glasgow in the orange car that you see here. Now have a look to see what happens coming into here. Cardiff go for an overtake, but unfortunately, in their overtake, they kept their foot pinned to the ground and they just drove Glasgow straight off the track. It seems harsh. There's been a bit of a talk on this come on, it was rubbing as racing, etc. And the 5-second penalty was quite harsh. Unfortunately,
I mean, to offer an alternative opinion, it was very much Cardiff stuck to their line. They went down the inside, and should Glasgow have braked off? There is that alternative way to look at it. But having said that, it's happened before in this series. I think it's happened to Cardiff. Cardiff have been on the receiving end of it, and the penalty's been awarded the other way, so it's only right that this penalty was awarded this way, I believe.
Precisely, and that's exactly how we had to go with this one, in a way to be fair and to be consistent with how we dish out the penalties throughout the season. We had to keep a kind of standard there, and as you correctly said, Cardiff did, for a better word, benefit from having to do a protest because someone did exactly that move to them, and we gave that offender a 5-second penalty. So unfortunately, we had to stay consistent in this case to ensure that everyone knows what the standards are of the racing. It is ultimately supposed to be a fun series, but we, at the same time, if people are going to push their luck, then as event captain, I've got to try and set a standard somewhere.
And this is something I was going to say, is that at the end of this evening, I'll go off and have my dinner, whereas Monty and the team are busy going over times and protests, and they're here till all hours in the morning making this whole series work. So hats off to everyone involved behind the scenes. They do an absolutely incredible job, and they're legends one and all.
Thank you, Giles. No, honestly, guys, what you don't see going on in the background, I'm just the kind of event captain here. We have a wonderful team of 3 or 4 IMEC members who are working tirelessly on the servers as we speak right now, getting all the servers live, making sure that all of our competitors, the university students, can get on, and that the whole event goes according to plan. We're all volunteers, so we all do this in our spare time as well. So a huge thank you to...
What spare time?
What spare time? We don't need sleep. Sleep is optional, Giles.
It might be for you. It certainly isn't for me. I've still got a master's in engineering to get.
I had that pain 10 years ago. So
10 years ago.
I know. Somehow,
he doesn't look it, does he? You've still got hair.
It's the filter, you see. OBS is wonderful. The streaming equipment, you can put like filters on, get rid of the crow feet. I've actually got grey hair. This is just coloured hair, you know.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, I would say I've got none anyway, so there's no point talking about that. Over on the stream, got a few comments coming in already. Anything randomly tape says, come on, Manchester. And Albert Hare says, hello again from Qatar. Go Southampton. Right back at you. Hello, Qatar. Lovely to have you on board joining us this evening. I should also say, I'll be interested to see how many people tune in tonight and how many people are watching Eurovision, which is happening at the same time, of course.
Yes.
And if I wasn't doing this, I would be watching Eurovision, but not for the reason you might be expecting. Supposedly, the new Doctor Who trailer drops in the middle of Eurovision tonight, and if anyone is watching both at the same time and can let me know in the comments when the new Doctor Who trailer's out, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, that's one way of being able to drop it in that way. Yep, if we've got some spies out there, please let us know. It's always good to know what's happening in British culture just now. Yes, apparently some people enjoy singing, don't they? I do after a couple of pints, but I'm not sure anyone else enjoys listening to my singing.
I was about to say, as to whether anyone wants to hear it is a different matter entirely.
Yes, no. Unfortunately, I was once described as sounding like a cat being milked, then realising that the cat was male. So that's my singing.
Oh, that's a vivid image for a Saturday night.
Yes, we needed to see that, didn't we? So, guys, we're just waiting for the server to go live. You've got about probably 60 seconds till it goes live. So as soon as we get some live pictures from the server, I will hand that over to you. Giles, whilst I just get this all set up, let's go and have a look at the championship standings again, because whilst we've spoken about the 3 main protagonists, we haven't spoken about the other 44 universities who make up this championship, have we?
No, we haven't. So, as we've been talking about, in at number 1, with over 400 points, they're knocking on 500. They're doing incredibly well. We've been talking about them all evening so far. University of Glasgow in at number 1. At number 2, it's University of Southampton. They're a little bit behind, bless their hearts, but they're not doing too bad, are they? Elsewhere, in 3rd, University of Bolton with 396 points. In at 4, University of Hull are there. Now, they've been doing all right, but they haven't. It's good to see them back there, but could they be doing better? I'm sure they'd like to be. Elsewhere, University of Wolverhampton are there at 5 with 328 points. University of Strathclyde at 6 with 318. University of Wales, Trinity St David, they've been doing really well. You don't often hear a lot about them when we talk about the race highlights. They've just been getting in there, getting consistent points. They've been doing really well. They're in at 7 with 316. UWE, the University of West of England, based in Bristol, are there at 8 with 270.5 points. I want to give a shout out to the UWE social media team because they've been doing a great job of profiling their team's journey this season in the Sim Racing Series. So congratulations to them. It looks gorgeous on their Instagram. Go and give them a follow. University of Salford are there at 9 with 268. Cardiff University, they've made it into the top 10 in spite of that penalty last week, demoted down to 2nd, having lost out on that win. 265.5 points for them, often inhibited by the single driver penalty as well. University of Stavanger are there at 11 with 230 points. At 12, we've got University of the Basque Country,
also known as Victoria, our Drift Masters from last time out, Giles.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they can pull off today because I've got a funny feeling these BMWs are going to be sideways around the track as well. They've got 218 points. All eyes and the camera on them. TU Ilmenau are at 13 with 197. At 14, University College London, UCL, 196 points. With 190 points, Kingston University are at 15. York are there with 183 at 16. At 17, University of Portsmouth Alumni with 167 points. University of Cambridge, 18, there with 161 at 18. Joint with them, Coventry, they've also got 161, but they're at 19th. And the University of Oxford, trailing behind Cambridge, they're at 20 with 159 points.
That's our top 20, guys. It's, as I say, we have 47 universities taking part in the championship this year. And as you can see on your pictures now, we're racing. This is looking glorious, isn't it, Giles?
It looks absolutely fantastic. Imagine your favourite scale electric circuit plonked down in some forest. That is what we've got for you this evening. We're at Ahvenisto in Finland, and you've got some BMWs, as I'm sure you can tell, on your screens there. Wall-to-wall beamers. York looking pretty good in this qualifying session. UGR, though, dominant. I believe in the last qualifying session, they were 6/10 ahead of the 2nd place car. So we're looking for another dominant drive from the University of Glasgow Racing.
Well, certainly in race 2, that was qualifying 2 where they got pole position in. Race 1 is looking a lot tighter, actually. Salford have taken pole for that one. So they're on a bit of a resurgence. Salford Team 2, they were the runners-up last season. They've been plagued in the first half of the season, struggling to find drivers. They've been stuck having to do one driver penalties from round 1 to round 4. So the fact that they were still in the top 10 before last round, even with all of those penalties, I thought was really impressive. Finally, they managed to get 2 drivers together for last time out at Goodwood and got 4th position. And it looks like with this new momentum, we're going to see them make a nice comeback in the second half of the season. Commentator's curse, I'm sure,
yes,
but that's what I'm going for.
Well, fingers crossed. Sometimes we ought to shut up. The trouble is we can't because it's our job. But anyway, we're looking forward to going racing here. Who's your money on for tonight then, James?
It's hard to see it being anyone else but Glasgow up for overall victories. I'm not sure if they'll win both races, but I think they've prepared the most that come the end of the night, they'll have the most points out of everyone, I suspect.
I imagine you are right. In terms of points and finishing anyway, but my eyes certainly, look at the way these cars are jumping around. If you catch too much curb on one of these corners, you're going to fly off into the barrier. So we're going to see some spectacular driving, maybe some spectacular crashes as well. Turn 4 in particular, the drivers have been talking about finding that very difficult, and that turn is right next door to a lake, because of course it is. My eyes are going to be on Vittoria. I'm hoping to see some nice sideways driving from them. Also worth noting is that the pit lane directly exits onto turn 4, right onto the driving line. Because on turn 4 of this circuit, you really want a wide angle. You want to get as wide as you can, and that is exactly where the pit lane dumps drivers exiting the pit lane. So if any of the drivers have to pit, we've seen it before. We've seen drivers run out of fuel right before the end of the race, and that's completely ruined their race.
Yes.
If, in fact, a driver does exit the pits right into the racing line, we could see a little bit of drama.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as I keep on saying every time, it's never over until the fat lady sings. So we'll see how much she wants to sing tonight, basically. But 25-minute races, guys. We've got 2 of these coming up. Fingers crossed it should all go fine. As you can see there, so this is just warm-up we're looking at the moment, guys. So we're about to form the grid, and we're going to a 4-minute countdown before the first of the 2 races go. And yep, there we are. That's the screen done. So we'll just wait for the grids to form in about a minute's time. And yes, we will go from that. Jack McCauley says it sounds like someone has a crackly mic. Would that be me, or would that be Giles, guys?
I sincerely hope it's not me, but I should point out I am currently coming to you live from the Cardiff Student Radio Station's pre-recorded studio. So this is being streamed from Edurome. And if you're a student, you know how bad Edurome is. So that might be me. I can only apologise.
It's been 10 years since I last used Edurome, and I still have PTSD whenever I hear the word, I'm afraid, Giles. So yes, my condolences to any student that still has to use that glorious system.
Yes. Don't you just love university Wi-Fi? Do keep us posted on the sound mix. According to Jack and Diego, mics are okay now and it's gone away. Cheers for keeping us updated on that, chaps. We do endeavour to bring you the highest quality stream we can, but do remember we are volunteers as well. Anyway, we're lining up on the grid for race 1 here in Finland. The BMWs are on track. Shall we do a grid walkthrough?
Yep, that sounds like a good idea to me. So we have Salford here on pole. Up beside them, UE, their season best qualifying as well in second position there. Glasgow, third on the grid with Wolverhampton fourth. Reigning champions Southampton in fifth. And Bolton in 6th. Remember, they've got a 1-driver penalty, so we're going to see them starting from the back of the grid in the next race. UWTSD and Cambridge A. That should be 8th on the grid. I don't quite know why Cambridge is there, unless he's still doing some setup tweaks. Hopefully he'll appear on the grid shortly. Row 5, we have Kingston 9th and Hull in 10th. Cardiff in 11th. Dundee. Welcome back to the series, guys. So University of Dundee we've not seen since round 1, so a good return from them. Straight in there in the midfield in 12th on the grid. Then we have our other new team, Hull B. So these are made of, I believe, first and second year drivers. So Hull have fielded a second team for the remainder of this season. So good luck to them. They're 13th on the grid there. Aberdeen 14th. Stavanger in 15th. Stavanger. I'm going to get lectured by my dad again. Stavanger, yes.
I was going to say, I think they appeared at the actual real-life FS last year.
You're right.
There was a lot of hoo-ha about how to pronounce it. I think it is Stavanger.
You're quite right. Lassonde 16th, Oxford 17th, York in 18th, Strathclyde in 19th, and Manchester in 20th. Lights are about to go, Giles. I'll hand it over to you.
Here we go then. Let's go racing in Finland. Lights out and away we go for the first time this evening. And it's a slow start off the grid for the second and third place cars. Salford have managed to stick with it. UE, though, have got the jump on Salford. Salford managing to hold them off. They've maintained their lead. UE in second, holding on to that best qualifying. Aaron Farmer up to second, I should say. According to the timing sheet there, an amazing start for Aaron Farmer from Cardiff University up into second. Meanwhile, we've got Southampton in third, UWR in fourth, Bolton in fifth. Where's UE gone? UE qualified second. Where have they gone?
This is a very good question. I'm trying to work out what's happened to them. Cambridge have disconnected from the server as well, so we're just having a quick look just to see what's going on there. I cannot work out for the life of me what's happened to UE.
UE are there in 17th.
However, Mr. Farmer... 17th. Oh my gosh, they must have fallen off somewhere then. Farmer, though, has capitalised from this. Look at this, from 11th on the grid, Cardiff straight up to second.
Absolute drama from the start then. Cardiff starting in 11th, up into 2nd, under pressure now from last year's winners Southampton, all over their chuff, for lack of a better phrase, driving very defensively. Was Aaron expecting to be in 2nd from the first corner? Probably not. And Southampton are looking very aggressive, getting on the curb, getting on the grass, trying to find a way around the Welsh Dragons. Salford, meanwhile, beating it like hell, getting away from them, opening up over nearly a 2-second gap between them and Cardiff, as Cardiff are put under pressure by Southampton. He will be looking for a way round. Meanwhile, you're on board there with the University of Wolverhampton, who is getting a great view of this drama up ahead. Bear in mind, Cardiff and Southampton are going to be fighting all over the place. Southampton, therefore, are battling. Oh my days, this is close. Cardiff.
Something's happened to Cardiff. They've spun off, and that's them coming back in 10th, 11th position.
Back to where they qualified in the space of a lap. Absolute drama here in Finland then. What happened there? I can't keep up. Yui up into 1st. What is going on with this timing sheet?
Something is happening with the timing sheet here. I think Yui fell into the pits. They're coming back. The timing... it's either that or someone's missed a timing beam here, and it's completely confused things. I'm going to go and have a look at our server to see what it's showing. Incidentally, guys...
looking a bit twitchy there, are Yui?
Absolutely. Incidentally, guys, there is a live timing page which you can view. I've just popped it in the comments page now for you guys to have a look on the map and all the telemetry which comes with it. I'm trying to work out what's going on here. Cambridge are indeed in the race. They have started the pits, however. Not quite sure what's happened there, but there they are, 23rd, and they are now on a recovery drive. Good luck, Alex Wilkinson.
There's a lot of damage on the Yui car, and I was looking in the driver's chat earlier, and there seemed to be certain places where if you went off, you would skip an entire section of the track, and it would dump you. So if you went off, say, turn 4, it would dump you around back turn 8, and you'd lose a lot of the track. So that may have something to do with the consistently shifting positions on the timing board here. Cardiff back down now in 10th, having got up to 2nd very briefly. For a lap or so, right out of the gate. Meanwhile, turning straight down the grid, Victoria and Manchester tumbling away down the grid there. What's happened to them? Have they gone off, or have we got a glitch in the matrix, as it were? Salford, meanwhile, they don't seem too fast. 2 laps in, 3 seconds ahead. They're having a fantastic time. Southampton are in 2nd. University of Wolverhampton up into 3rd. Bolton in 4th. UGR, surprisingly, for a team we've been talking about this evening for being so dominant. They're only in 5th, 5 seconds behind Bolton. University of Wales, Trinity St David are there in 6th, Hull in 7th, Kingston in 8th. You're on board with UGR then. What has happened to these guys? And damage all over the right side of their car. So clearly drama for Glasgow as well. I've got any fight for the endurance. They're going to have a very, very easy evening once this has concluded. 6 seconds behind, Yui have just overtaken USM, so they're into 13th now. So bit of drama for you out of the gate here in Finland. Possibly not race related, possibly matrix and digital related. We'll keep you posted on that. Aaron Farmer suddenly a DNF. How on earth has that happened?
So I've just been looking at what's going on in the Discord chat at the moment. As Jack McCauley's correctly pointed out, Cardiff had a jump start, so we believe Cardiff came in at the end of the first lap. That's why they suddenly dropped off. I'm not quite sure why they're a DNF now, unless they've been disqualified.
That's a drama. Meanwhile, up the top, Salford and UWR battling it out. Southampton overtaking them. According to the timing sheet, your guess is as good as mine as what's happening. But Salford here, they're 4 seconds ahead, so I can't imagine there's actually that much overtaking going on. That's a 4-second lead that Salford have managed to open up for themselves. Back at their best, having struggled earlier on in the season with limited driver numbers. Victoria there, my favourites, they've got damage as well on their right-hand side. A bit of scuffed paintwork and a dent there in their driver's side door. They've got York all over them, lights full beam blazing behind them then. York desperate to get past them, weaving behind the driver, trying to get their attention. Let me past, I'm faster, is saying York. No, you're not, say Vittoria, driving very defensively in the green BMW. A gap of approximately, a second perhaps? Meanwhile, Dundee have got past TU Ilmanu. and they are up into 14th then. University of Wales Trinity St David you're on board with at the moment in the yellow. Meanwhile, in the white behind them is Hull. Oh, this track is very difficult as well. If you mistime it, if you misjudge where the curb is, you're going to get launched all over the track. There's a little bit of air to have if you don't get it right, if you misjudge the line. So it's quite technically accurate, even though it's a relatively simple figure of 8. When you look at it on the map, it's very, very uneven. There's a lot of gradients to this track. So well done to the drivers for sticking at it. I certainly couldn't do it, which is why I'm here doing the commentary. Meanwhile, then, University of Wales Trinity St David have held off Hull. You're on board with UE at the moment. We were talking about their social media team just now, doing an absolutely cracking job of the UE social media team. They're hunting down Ion, which is Stavanger. So can they find a way past? Because Stavanger are busy trying to get past Oxford University. So they're being held up, and that means UE has got a prime opportunity to maybe get the jump on both of them, which would be very exciting for the team from Somerset. I do think Bristol's in Somerset. I'm from Taunton. Oh, look at this then. UE going round the outside of Stavanger, trying to find a way around. They don't quite make it work. They're diving to the inside. This is great stuff from UE. UE on the inside of Stavanger. Can they make this work? Dragging their way down. It's going to be a question of who breaks latest. And UE have got it. They've overtaken. They're up into 10th. Fantastic for the University of the West of England. And now they've got to get past Oxford University. They're in the top 10 then. Are UE leaving Stavanger behind with a very damaged car do UE have? Bear in mind that they qualified in second. Something happened to them. We'll find out later on for you. It was such a dramatic first lap. Cardiff got a jump start by the sounds of things. And now all of a sudden they're a DNF. We'll keep you posted when we find out what's happened there. Meanwhile, though, UE, you're on board with them right now as they hunt down Oxford University, and Stavanger are still lurking in the background. They're waiting for the mistake. There's a mistake coming, and Stavanger are hoping whoever comes out best from this battle between UE and Oxford University, they can get past. They might be able to get past both of them. Trying to find a way around. UE, they're not quite close enough, but just nosing down the inside, just letting Oxford University know they're there. Some great aggressive driving from UE. It's really precise here. They're not, I'd say they've not made contact, that they have. Right into the back of Oxford University. Go UE, and they've toe pumped them off the track. Stavanger go through as well. It was just what Stavanger was hoping for. Oxford University might have something to say about that. UE up into ninth as things stand then, but there may be an inquiry into that move as things stand. Meanwhile, Ash, just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic racing. We're just under 10 minutes into the first race then here in a digital Finland. Salford streaking away with the win, 5 seconds ahead of Southampton. You're on board right now with Vittoria. My favourites coming into this race. I was hoping for some sideways action from them, but by the sound of things, these cars are very powerful. This track, very uneven. It's an undulating course. It's a lot of tight corners. I imagine they're just trying to have a go at keeping the car on track, let alone for some fancy driving. Up ahead of them, you've got Manchester and TU Ilmenau then.
Indeed. So let's just join Vittoria for a lap, just so you guys can see what Ahvenisto is like as a track. So this is us coming through the turn 3 and 4 complex now. So as you saw, very, very late pit exit. This is us going over the bridge now and then heading straight into turn 7. It's a tight hairpin, second, sometimes third gear. Out of there now, it's a quick flick left into turn 8. Hug it, that's fine. Hit the throttle, it's downhill, so it's easy to understeer. Straight into turn 9 now.
Ooh.
Going for a little look there, wasn't quite the right time to do it. That's Manchester just in front of them. Switch back into turn 10 now. Get on the throttle nice and early, underneath the bridge. It's uphill now into turn 11. This is where the incident was. There goes Manchester spinning off. Bye-bye. That's a nice, easy overtake for Vittoria as they come around into turn 12 now. And now it's the long charge back to the start-finish line. Watch this. Never-ending right-hander. Flat out on the throttle. Final corner, turn 14. Got to get this line right. Throttle pinned to the floor. Nicely done by Vittoria there. If you take too much curb on the inside there, it will spit you straight off. As you can see, not a lot of runoff road at this track, so you've got to treat it with a lot of respect. But those who are neatest seem to be quickest at the moment. You may see Vittoria get a bit ragged in the second race when the driver who we saw in Goodwood last time out, doing all those wonderful drifts, takes over the car. Just now it's Mr. Lopez who is driving for Vittoria. Very nicely done. Very tight, very technical and challenging circuit with a lot of undulations. Not really a lot of chances for overtakes here. It's about forcing an unforced error, or provoking, I should say, an unforced error to your competitors and capitalising on it, as we saw Vittoria do on Manchester during that onboard lap.
So, this course is giving me elements of the Nürburgring, elements of Le Mans, very precise. Meanwhile, you've got University of Wolverhampton knocking right on the door of Bolton then. Are they going to provoke an unforced error, as Monty was just talking about, or are they really going to go for an overtake and maybe go off the racing line? Not seeing a lot of action off the racing line here. This is a very precise course that punishes those that don't follow it exactly. UWR, University of Wolverhampton, trying to find a way into the top 3, trying to get a podium finish then. They've got 12 minutes in which to do it, just about. I think they're just not quite there yet. Haven't quite caught up. They're just waiting for Bolton to make an error. And there is an error that they could capitalise on. Bolton onto the grass, and they've just caught up then. Right all over their rear end are Wolverhampton. And in the back of there, you can see UGR, University of Glasgow Racing, like a vulture, just hoping for a mistake from the pair of these. Can they keep this manoeuvre clean? Because I don't think Bolton can hold on to this third place if Wolverhampton keep up this pace. But Glasgow, I wanted to have something to say about it, because they're knocking on the door of Bolton, who've been held up by Wolverhampton. It happens a lot. We've seen it time and time again in this series. And Glasgow are driving all up in the rear end of Wolverhampton, who were looking so confident of trying to get into third, and now they've got to go defensive to keep on to that fourth position they've currently got, because Glasgow are right there, and we know how monsterably aggressive Glasgow can be.
I'm just having a look at the standings. It's a bit of deja vu from last year, seeing Salford, Southampton and Bolton at the top. It's nice to see those three are back at the top, because we've not seen much of them together this season. But it's nice to see Wolverhampton so having another great race. Glasgow, as you say, they're there, they're waiting to capitalise. But they've got such a points lead now in the championship, they don't need to win the races. All they need is 2 top 5 finishes tonight, and they'll probably still be in the top parts, once the total points are accumulated. They're going to come out with a top 3 finish anyway, with a double top 5 finish, I reckon. Especially as we know Bolton will be starting from the back of the grid in the next race anyway. That's one of their main protagonists gone. Southampton, well, there they are in second, but they can afford to lose a couple of points to them from each round now. As I say, they're what, 40 points ahead of Southampton? It's 100 points for a win. All they need to do, they don't need to take any silly risks here. They just want to rake in those points and control the championship. This is theirs to lose now.
I was going to say, I don't actually see the results as things stand. I don't see them upsetting the apple cart of the overall series results currently. You're on board with the University of Glasgow as the University of Wolverhampton try and find their way round Bolton, I should say. Not quite there yet, but Glasgow were up all over Wolverhampton. They seem to have eased off now. Meanwhile, TU Ilmenau and FSTN battling it out, going round the outside. Not quite there. You're on board with TU Ilmenau, who are just about holding on to 15th as they come under pressure from Vittoria, I should say. Vittoria nosing around, having a look, going round the outside. It's a drag race to the next turn, but of course, TU Ilmenau have the better line coming into turn 1 then.
Nicely
and
held.
They've got this done, well defended from TU Ilmenau. Vittoria are going to have to do it again. Looking a bit shaky through here. It is not an easy course, this. And these cars are really quite powerful given the nature of the tracks. You've got a heck of a lot of power and a very squiffy circuit to be dealing with. So these drivers have got to concentrate for the next 10 minutes or so.
So whilst we watch this battle, I'm just reading through the Discord chats at the moment, and I found out what's happened to Cambridge, Giles. This is good. So you can see Cambridge are a lap behind now in 20th position. They should have started 8th on the grid, but we saw them spawning from the pits. Apparently, yes. Alex Wilkinson, whilst looking for the horn on his car, accidentally teleported himself to the pits, and that locked him to a pit start entry.
No.
So, sorry, Wilco. That's bloody hilarious.
Not a particularly, I was going to say not a particularly Oxbridge moment, but certainly one that we're not going to forget in a hurry. You're on board with Wolverhampton, still trying to get up into the top 3. They're under pressure from Glasgow. As Glasgow look to the inside. Glasgow have got the inside line, but not enough acceleration to get past Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton, meanwhile, cannot get past Bolton. Bolton driving very defensively because we've now got a train. We have a train developed, led by Bolton, followed by Wolverhampton. Then it's University of Glasgow. And then University of Wales, Trinity St David are having a look, saying, I'd like a bit of this, thank you very much. And the question is, who's going to get past who? Because eventually an error is going to happen. One of these drivers is going to make an unforced error, and then it will be a free-for-all. Who's going to get into the top 3 then is the question. Bolton holding off Wolverhampton successfully so far, putting them under pressure from Glasgow, who will want to upgrade their position from 5th at the moment. That will be one of the lowest results for Glasgow in this series so far if they cross the line in this order. Bolton just about managing to hold off. There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities, I should say, within this track unless a driver makes an error. Looking to the outside then, go Wolverhampton, trying to find any way round of Bolton. They've gone to the outside and they've let Glasgow in then. Glasgow side by side with the University of Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton have just about got the better line, the better acceleration off the mark then, probably braking a little bit later, and they've just managed to hold on to 4th. But they can't go looking off the racing line to try and find a way around Bolton because this track does not forgive those who get creative with their ways around the track. Bolton have got to make an unforced error if Wolverhampton are going to get past, because I don't think Wolverhampton are going to be able to actually get past. There's not a lot of room for overtaking here, and any mistakes are just going to invite drama and an overtake from Glasgow.
It's by far the closest racing on the circuit at the moment, guys, and this is so fascinating to see because it's literally a case of this. Bolton, just one error, you get the feeling Wolverhampton will be through. Wolverhampton, they've got nothing to lose here. They want a podium. They want big results now. They've always been in that kind of top 6 realm. They're doing a fantastic first season here, but they want something bigger now. They want that podium. So Bolton, on the other hand, have a lot more to lose. This is their last opportunity to catch up to Glasgow. And in some ways, actually, keeping Glasgow 2 cars behind, well, it helps them gain a few more points. UWTSD coming onto this hole as well are now within just over a second behind, so they're not that far behind. If Glasgow have one unforced error and fall down the back of the field, big points then for Bolton, big points for Southampton. It is essentially in Bolton's interest for Glasgow to go spinning off if they want to catch up in the championship.
For a race that didn't seem to be affecting the overall championship, we could now be in with a shout of upsetting the apple cart. And here we go then. Wolverhampton looking to the inside, not quite. Trying to get past Bolton. They don't manage it, and they've got to be careful not to toe punt them, as we saw Yui do earlier. So they've just got to take it easy and wait for Bolton to make the unforced error if they do. But looking in their mirrors, they know they've got the championship leaders, Glasgow, who've got their lights on full beam. They want Wolverhampton to know they're there. Getting nice and close here through this left-hander. But Wolverhampton, I would not want to be sat in the middle of that sandwich. Oh, looking very close now to the back of Bolton. Getting a little bit impatient. Doesn't matter to Southampton. They're well away, just under a 6-second advantage they have over Salford, who are in second. So Southampton are your race leaders.
No, they're not. That's definitely not right. Ignore that timing
Salford.
beam. It's definitely Salford still in the lead. Sorry, I was just catching my attention there because it showed Southampton jumping into the lead. No, so beg your pardon, guys. It is still Salford, 6 seconds ahead of Southampton. Then it's this gaggle of cars battling up for the final podium. Panic over. Sorry.
I do apologise, but there we are. Meanwhile, we have got Bolton in third at the moment, looking a little bit tail happy through there. Bit of torque steer off the end of that curve, put the power down a little bit too early perhaps, feeding the pressure from Wolverhampton behind them, and Wolverhampton will be determined to get past Bolton because they've got a rear view mirror full of Glasgow. I wouldn't want a rear view mirror full of Glasgow.
No.
Because that is not a position I'd want to be in.
Oh, that's happened. That's Wolverhampton off.
It's all over. There it goes. The unforced error from a car I wasn't expecting it from. University of Wolverhampton goes sideways, and it's all over for the University of Wolverhampton, who are down now into 6th. Glasgow go up into 4th. University of Wales, Trinity St David go into 5th. And it happened. And it was done in a split second.
Nicely held from Tyler Lewis at Wolverhampton there. So he's still in the gaggle. He's just at the back of the chain now. There's still 4 minutes left of this race. So we'll have to wait and see if they can recover. They've certainly been the most aggressive of the drivers so far in this gaggle, but yeah, let's see if they can recover the positions there. The other thing I was going to say... go on, Giles, sorry.
I was just going to say the patience just seemed to run out because they got a bit aggressive. Obviously, you saw that bit of torque steer come off Bolton as they exited that corner, inviting a move from Wolverhampton, but they just got a little bit too aggressive. And as a result, as we've been saying throughout this race, this track does not forgive those that get a bit adventurous, as we've just seen there as FSTN tumbled down the proceedings.
Yeah, so it looks like Napier, maybe Strathclyde and Ilmanu had a coming together there. These 4 cars were quite close together and all coming back onto the track, so I'll have to have a nose at that and hear from the drivers afterwards what happened in that incident. There's Alex Wilkinson.
At the moment with Vittoria. Cambridge back down a lap in 20th, gutting for Cambridge, who qualified in 8th and then pressed the wrong button and then ended up in the pit lane instead. I imagine there may be a little bit of ribbing from their teammates for that one for Wilco.
Just having a look here, according to the live timing, that is Carnival 41, Aberdeen, who are in 9th, right in front of them. So I am intrigued as to what could have...
Well, I would have thought it would be because Cambridge is a lap down.
I'm hoping that's the case, but with the way that the timing beams are going at the moment, part of me is wondering if they're actually 10th and we're not giving them credit here. Something's going on with the timing beam tonight, guys. Not quite sure what, but we will get all the results rectified by the time we publish the final results later in the week. It does
make our job a bit more difficult in the commentary box. If you're sat there at home thinking, what on earth's going on? We quite like an answer to that as well. We're doing our very best, but that looks a little bit squiffy there from the car in 9th. That is Aberdeen.
Yep.
And that's inviting a move from Cambridge, and they just take... Wow! Aberdeen just sodded off. They just shot away.
Yep, no, I get the feeling that perhaps I'm talking load of crap. Wilco feels like he's a lap behind, otherwise he would have gone for a much more aggressive move than that, I suspect. Oh, my apologies, guys. I just realised I've said some fluent French live on air there. I do apologise. But yes, no, I get the feeling Wilco is a lap behind, otherwise he would have probably been much more aggressive with his moves there. Meanwhile, back to the battle for third.
Battle for third. The battle for third then. Bolton now under pressure from the black, red and yellow of none other than the University of Glasgow. The championship leaders. Oh, this is brilliant. Bolton versus Glasgow. I am so here for this then. Bolton managed to hold off Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton made that unforced error, getting a little bit impatient and going sideways as they tried to get past them. And then as a result, UGR and UWTSD just going straight past. Glasgow up into 4th now. Very determined to get that podium off of Bolton. Bolton will not want that. Bear in mind the points gap that's already between the two teams. Glasgow topping the standings at the moment. Bolton then having to drive very defensively for the next minute or so. One more lap, I would say, maybe 2. If they're lucky, probably 1 more. They've got to hold off the Glaswegians for 1 lap. Salford well away, 3 seconds ahead of Southampton. So, in fact, I think that lead's dropped just a little bit. I do think that lead has dropped down. But I think Salford are comfortable to cruise over the line and take the win here. Southampton in 2nd, Bolton under pressure from Glasgow, 3rd and 4th, the battle for 3rd going on there. In 5th, University of Welsh Trinity St David, we've been talking about them earlier. They don't tend to get involved in the dramatic racing, but what they do is they drive consistently and they get up in the points. So very well done to them. A DNF for a number of teams, including Hull's B team, their very first outing, and it's a DNF for them. Gutting for the 1st and 2nd years from Hull. Kingston, another DNF, and an absolutely calamitous drive for Cardiff. Jumped the start, got a drive through, and then all of a sudden it was a DNF. We'll keep you posted what's happened there.
Yeah,
Salford crossing the line then. Weaving across the track, they know they've done it. Salford take the win, followed by Southampton in 2nd. Can Bolton hold off Glasgow? I think they can. Indeed they can, and Bolton take 3rd, Glasgow in 4th, in 5th is University of Welsh Trinity St David, and Wolverhampton, they had a shot at the podium, but they didn't make it work, and they crossed the line in 6th. In 7th, it's Hull and UWE, who've been driving brilliantly. They started in 2nd, had a bit of drama, as you can see from the state of their car. They finish in 8th for the first race here in Finland. Aberdeen come across the line in 9th. Well, they will do in a short second. There they go. Across the line are Aberdeen, followed by Dundee. We've not heard a lot from them, but they seem to have had a rather dramatic race. Look at the paint job, or lack of paint job, on their right-hand side. They've been rubbing up against someone there, and on their left as well. Oh, well, that's a little bit much, isn't it?
As there's the usual post-race shenanigans now, Giles. They wouldn't be students otherwise, would they?
Well, there we are then. That's the race over for the first part of today.
And we get to do this all over again in a couple of minutes' time, don't we, Giles?
We do indeed. So do stick with us. We're going to go for a break, and we'll be right back with race 2. We might also be able to bring you some updates as to what happened there during the race for some of those drivers. But do stick with us. Go grab a cup of tea. Go see who's murdering singing on the Euro WhatsApp, and we'll be back very soon. And welcome back to round 6 of the IMEC Formula Student Sim Racing Series, live from a virtual Finland at Ahvenisto. We've got BMW on-track action, and the action really was actually occurring in the computers this time, we should say. So, we'll talk about the computer action, and then we'll talk about the on-track action. So you may have noticed 3 drivers ended up as DNFs. Hull B, who else was there? I think it was Kingston and Cardiff University. All of them had to serve drive-through penalties for one reason or another, oftentimes because of a jump start. That happens. They get a drive-through, problem solved, no more said about it. However, the software glitched, the mod glitched, and as a result, it wouldn't let drivers return to the track after they'd served their drive-through penalty, and therefore the drivers were inhibited and ended up as DNFs. We can only apologise to them for that. We're looking into ways of remedying the situation. Drivers will start with locked controls for the second race. So if you're in touch with your drivers, you're supporting your teams watching the stream, let them know. If they've missed it on the general group chat on Discord, they will be starting with locked controls until lights out to prevent anything like that from happening. Also, we saw Wolverhampton take a dramatic spin as they were hunting down a podium position, trying to overtake Bolton. On the Discord chat, Glasgow looked round and apologised to Wolverhampton, and I'd like to apologise to Wolverhampton as I see it from the sheet. Wolverhampton made an error, but the look of things had a bit of help in that dramatic spin, and Glasgow came out on the group chat and apologised, and it seems to be that Glasgow had caused that spin for Wolverhampton. More as we have it, that seems to be the general discussion. There's nothing official yet, but that seems to be the discussion going on amongst the drivers at the moment. So plenty of drama already, and we haven't even had race 2.
I feel like I'm going to be very busy tonight, Giles, and tomorrow.
I think you might be. I think you might be.
It sounds like there's going to be a few protests to review there. C'est la vie. It's all part of the experience, and it's what makes it a fun series for everyone. So good entertainment.
Well, rather you than me.
That's all right. You can go back to your masters then.
Well, I'm pasta, cheese, and tomato sauce is the order of this evening. And finally watching that Doctor Who trailer that came out during race 1.
Aha, yes. See how that one came on. So as you can see, guys, we're just finishing warm-up 2 now. We have got another 25-minute race to go, and then we will be all good to go. That will be us done for the night. I just have to say, though, Giles, shout out to Jonathan Wheater, Salford's driver in race 1 there. He did a flawless race, and it was so nice to see Salford, who have been so quick this season, but because they've been stuck with a one-driver entry until the last round, they've not been able to be as competitive as what we saw. Reminder, they were the runners-up last season, so we knew that they had the pace there, and now they've finally got a full team together that Jonathan was able to capitalise on this undoubted pace and take a victory.
It was great because they qualified in pole and they just stuck in there. So you may not have seen a lot of coverage of them during the race itself because they were so dominant. They were at least 3 seconds ahead the whole time. So an absolutely outstanding drive from Salford. We should also point out this circuit is a figure of 8 circuit. It's why I said earlier, imagine your favourite scale electric track, because invariably they're a figure of 8. And we think the crossover on the bridge is causing the timing beams to get a bit confused. So sometimes drivers are jumping around in the timing boards, which we go off to tell you where the drivers are, and not necessarily is it representative of position on track. But we're going to do our best to kind of get around that in the second race for you. Over on the stream, we've got a few comments coming in. Anything randomly taped, making some very good predictions and hypotheses regarding the drama in the first race. Sven Grube said Dan smashed it. I'm sure he did. And Finlay Gordon says, come on, Teo. So we're all eyes on track for the second race. My eyes definitely on Vittoria. We've got my exciting driver from Vittoria coming on for the second race. Are we going to see a bit of sideways action? Potentially. I'm not convinced about it this time. At Goodwood, you can go sideways as much as you like, and the track doesn't punish you for it. This is an undulating circuit that really does bite back any drivers that try and get adventurous away from the racing line.
Yes, I can vouch for that. I decided to join in for the warm-up before we went live this evening with a setup where the car was completely slammed to the ground, max camber, and it does not slide, I can confirm. It's just a bathtub wallowing around is the only way I could describe it's trying to drive. Too modern, I think, for the classic drift these cars are, Giles.
Yes, they seem to be a little bit too well set up, so to speak. But all eyes now onto the second race then. Hopefully a little less computational drama and a bit more racing action.
Indeed.
As Elvis once said. But anyway, we're going to be lining up on the grid for you very shortly, and we're going to walk you through who's who and who is where. Some of these drivers are back again. Some of the teams are serving that one driver penalty. Gutting for Cardiff, they will be serving a one driver penalty. Aaron Farmer driving both races, having been DQ'd by the server itself as a result of a glitched drive-through penalty. So he'll be starting from the back with half points, which will be really gutting for Cardiff, who may slip out of the top 10 as a result. The cars are lining up on the track. James, take us through it.
Right, so here we are, race 2, guys. Another 25-minute race coming on, and surprise, surprise, it's Glasgow and Pole. So there we are. They will be leading this one with Hull right beside them there, second on the grid. UWTSD third. Kingston, fair play. I think this could be their best qualifying of the season. They're up there in fourth, and ditto as well for Oxford in fifth. Very impressive performances from both their drivers. Sixth, it's reigning champions Southampton with Uwe in seventh. The second driver of Salford qualifying eighth, Mr. Armstrong. Nicely done, sir. And in ninth, we have Victoria. 10th, rounding up the top 10, is Aberdeen. We have Manchester in 11th. 12th, it's Napier. 13th, it's the University of York. 14th, it's Dundee, Team 13, and in 15th, it's Hull B. So they're quite equal in pace tonight, aren't they, Giles? They were beside each other in the first race, and they're beside each other again for this one. Hello, guys, we can hear you. There's Wilco, 16th on the grid. Fantastic. It sounds like he's found his hooter as well. Well done, guys. So, uh-oh, someone else has disappeared.
Oh, no.
Please tell me they've not... Oh, we'll see. They've still got 3 minutes to reconnect, so we'll see what happens. 16th is University, beg your pardon, 17th is La Sonde. It's our Canadian counterparts here near the back of the grid, with TU Ilomanu in 18th. They are our German colleagues. Stavanger there in 19th, and Mr. Farmer 20th on the grid for Cardiff. Here are our one driver entries now, actually. I should have said so. From Wilco in 16th there from Cambridge. Onwards, these are all our one driver entries now. So the way we've ordered this is in reverse position of your championship position, so that the person who's highest in the championship will start furthest at the back. So as you see, as we go past Stavanger and Cardiff, we have Strathclyde there in 21st. Wolverhampton also doing a one driver entry, so it'll be interesting to see what Mr. Lewis can do in this race. But of course, rounding out the back of the grid, it is Bolton. Fair play, good result to third there, but they're going to need some kind of miracle now if they want to outscore Glasgow tonight. And I don't think even getting to the top half...
Indeed.
Yep, and getting even to a win isn't going to help, because remember, all of these one driver entries are limited to half points in this second race. So they're going to need some absolute carnage at the front if they want to try and outscore.
Provided Glasgow finish, I reckon they've got the championship signed, sealed, delivered. It's theirs. Have we got time to look at the comments, or are we about to go racing, James?
That's a good question. I'm having a look. We've got 50 seconds left.
Got a couple of comments coming in. Small Jack says, come on, UWTSD. Charlie says, had your bets. Teo, Finley Gordon, do it for the Apple shares. Mastermind at McSee, come on, Oxford. And Charlie says, Luca. I'm not going to read out that because that's just bad. Anyway, elsewhere, we're on track now for the second race here in Finland. The BMWs are on track, and Glasgow are on track to take the championship if they can hold on to first place by the end 25 minutes that are to come of this race. So all eyes on the Scottish team as we go racing for the second time this evening. This could be really interesting. A number of really hard-edged drivers are back down the end of the grid. They're serving their one driver penalties, but we know that could all change. They can fly right up the grid. So this could be a very, very exciting race then. Not long now to go. The lights are on. 6 lights on your screens. Lights out and away we go. We're on board with University of Wales, Trinity St David. A great start from Hull and UGR, who managed to hold on to their positions. Kingston up there as well, having a look. But UGR just sweeping past and cutting off Hull, who are looking to the inside. University of Wales, Trinity St David swamped, and Kingston are up into third. Drivers settling in now as they come out of turn 1 into turn 2 and 3. Glasgow ahead by a second already The drivers bunching up as they come further down the grid. Salford up into 10th. Manchester dropping out sideways there. Who's that? Unbelievable. Dropping down. It's Oxford University have gone sideways. University of Trinity St David have also been taken out as well. Gutting in the grass. That's UWTSD. They were starting on 3rd. Unbelievable.
Your commentator's curse has struck yet again, Giles. Mr. Consistency, and we've gone and penalised another one. There they go, spinning off. But UWTSD's pain is Kingston's gain. Look at that, up to P3.
Kingston up into P3 then. Salford, worth noting, as well as Manchester and Dundee are up there. FSTN have gone down.
Oh, there's been
down.
a crash. There's been a crash somewhere down here. We've got loads of cars
Cardiff
spinning
is
off
down
now.
in 19th, 20th now, dropping right down to the back of the grid. The Sonde are also down there. Oh, dearie
no.
me.
Oh,
Cardiff
dear.
not having a good weekend this week. That has been absolutely gutting for the Welsh team. Dundee slipping their way down to 20th then. On the grass, this is a really difficult track to recover from. There is no runoff. If you run off, you're in the grass and you have had it, my friend. Up there in 10th is the Hull B team, which is great to see. They were a DNF in their first start. They're under pressure from Bolton.
Fantastic
But
start
Hull,
from Bolton, from
for their
23rd
second
on the grid
race.
to 11th.
That is going to be difficult there for Hull to hold off. The B team from Hull, only their second race in the series. They were late joiners to the series, and they're under pressure from one of the top tier teams who are back down the grid, and they will want to be clawing their way back up. They're already up from 23rd. Their lights are all out, looking to the inside. Can they make this work? Some great defensive driving from Hull, but they go wide and Bolton go through, and Bolton are up into 10th from 23rd.
Another start, more calamities, Giles. I couldn't keep up with all of that. That was fantastic to watch.
Oxford University there in 15th, a 1.5 second gap from UGR on the Hull A team, who are in 2nd. Kingston in 3rd. Southampton in 4th. UWE are in 5th. Aberdeen are in 6th. Victoria in 7th. Salford in 8th. In 9th is Manchester. Bolton are in 10th, as we've just heard. They got past the B team from Hull, who are in 11th. And then you've got Ion, Stavanger, who are under pressure from USM. They're just managing to pull away. Elsewhere, University of Trinity St David have gone up into 14th, having been sent way down the running order. So they've managed to recover up into 14th. Cambridge have also got into 15th. They've just got up there. Cardiff, they've got wiped out by something. Dundee are down in 22nd. Cardiff got past and they're up into 21st. But can anything happen? Dundee having an absolutely awful time. They're right down the bottom. They've been overtaken by York now. University of Welsh Trinity St David, the other Welsh team, in 14th. They've got to get past USM now, closing the gap very quickly there. I almost thought they were going to make a move then. They would have gone around the outside, and that was a rather difficult position to be in. But they're looking now to get past USM. Kingston in 3rd, meanwhile. But there we go then. University of Welsh Trinity St David looking to the inside, and they get... Oh, mate, they're trying to get past USM. This is going to be a close battle. USM have just got a nose in, but there we are. University of Welsh Trinity St David, they go past the bush. I can't see. Oh, my, oh, dearie gracious me. There is a real coming together there, and it's sunk.
That's it. That's Strathclyde into the water. I feel like that could be their race done.
Strathclyde have done.
That's Strathclyde done. That's them done. That's them falling into the lake, which I warned everyone about. There's no Armco wall there, and they've just rolled them backwards straight into the lake, and that is their race done.
I wish we had a replay because I'm not convinced that was their fault.
No, that will be very interesting to see what happened there. It looked like 3 cars trying to leave the corner at the same time. That was always going to end badly for someone there.
I believe that's Newton's 3rd law. I think we were talking about it before we came on air in a different context. But anyway, Bolton in 10th. Then we'll find out in the post-drivers meeting what's happened there. Bolton trying to get past Manchester, the pink of Manchester and the blue of Bolton rubbing together. Bolton looking down the inside, a fantastic view. Thank you, James, for this. This is the view from Bolton. They're knocking on the rear view. Looking to the inside. I think they've got to the inside line. Yes, they do. Amazing. Bolton up into 9th. Making it stick, making it very difficult for Manchester to defend that. All over their rear view. Can you imagine just looking in your mirror and having that close to you? No, thank you. I loathe tailgaters. In this, though, it's all right. Bolton up into ninth then. They've got a top 10 finish sorted. They've recovered from 23rd on the grid into ninth, and they're going to carry on hunting down another team from top north. Salford are the next in line for Bolton. Meanwhile, Manchester have got to defend from the Hull B team now, as the Hull B team tried to make the same move that Bolton just did, looking to the inside, but not quite. The pink of Manchester just sticking there in 10th. They had 9th, they've lost it. Can they hold on to a top 10 finish? Time will tell, as the Hull B team are doing some seriously impressive driving for their first proper race. An accidental DNF in the first round for them. Bear in mind, these are first and second years from Hull, and they are doing a cracking job. To nearly a 3-second lead for our championship leaders, University of Glasgow. They started in pole, and they have just gone away with it like the championship itself. They're 4 laps in. We've got 18.5 minutes to go. Unless something catastrophic happens and they end up in the lake for whatever reason, I think University of Glasgow, not only will they have this race, but they will have the championship in the bag with 2 rounds to go, including the grand final being hosted at the Williams Formula 1 Team HQ later in July. You're not going to want to miss that one. Nearly over 3 seconds ahead are Glasgow. Hull in second, Kingston behind them in third. In fourth, it's Southampton. In fifth, it's Huey. And you've got Aberdeen there in 6th. Cardiff down in 20th, an absolute calamity for them. A weekend I imagine they'd rather forget. Chances are they're going to be out of the top 10 of the driver's standings by the end of this race. Victoria there in 7th. I was hoping for some rather exuberant driving, but to be quite honest with you, I would just urge immense caution from all of the drivers today, because as we've seen, this track is immensely unforgiving and you can get very wet if things go wrong. The Sond, we haven't heard a lot from them. They're down in 19th, keeping things consistent. Where did they qualify, James? Have they dropped down? Have they made positions? Cambridge dropping away. Oh dear, hang on, Cambridge, where have they gone?
They're in the pits. Something's happened to Cambridge. We'll come back to La Sonde in a second.
Something has indeed happened to Cambridge. Wilco, a weekend I imagine he'd rather forget, pressing the wrong button and ending up starting from the pit lane in race 1. And now he's in the pits for a reason here on race 2. Is that going to be him coming out? What on earth has happened to Cambridge?
Don't quite
know.
The
entire grid just got away from them.
Absolutely. This is absolutely bonkers what's going on tonight. I feel like this pit is tricking some people, so we may get some choice words about this. However, enough of the pits. Back onto the on-track action. UWTSC on their recovery drive, up to 12th. Hopefully, if they can make this pass stick.
Oh, trying to make it work, getting a bit of air off the curve as they get a little bit more curve than is probably good for them. Trying to get past Ion, Stavanger, who are in 12th. The team's bunching up now, because that's the thing. You've got Manchester, they're in the pink. They're holding up Hull B team. And then behind Hull, you've got Stavanger, who are thinking, I could have a bit of that. But if Stavanger were to look in their mirrors, they'd notice that they've got University of Wales Trinity St David, who will be desperate to make a recovery drive, bearing in mind they started in 3rd and got punted off the track. So you've got all of these cars who are desperate to make up positions, and as far as I'm concerned, you can't have 2 drivers in one place.
Definitely not on a track this narrow. It's just far too unforgiving for that, Giles. Oh.
Look at all of this action then. Look at this. You've got... is that me, or is that Hull trying to get past? Oh, look at this. Unbelievable stuff. Hull.
It's Hull, Stavanger,
go past Hull. Oh! This is really tight. Hull, Stavanger, and University of Wales Trinity St David battling it out.
There we go.
11th.
There we go.
Oh! And it's all happened. And it's all been inevitable. And yet again, it's University of Wales Trinity St David who come off worst from that. They're down into 15th. Gutting for them. Stavanger up in 11th. Hull up to 10th. Manchester down in 14th following that calamity there. So...
I feel like that would be the move that would get
mad.
Yep, absolutely bonkers, and I feel like now we're going to see some real elbows come out now on everyone. This is that's the one move you always need, that trigger move to kind of set everyone else off now. So I suspect we're going to see
everyone has been set off. Look at this, 3 abreast through that right-hander there. University, Wolverhampton, Stavanger, and Oxford University trying to get round. That's 12th. Oh!
That's one touch.
University of Wolverhampton goes through on the inside, trying to get past. Yes, they just about make it work.
And look at this behind. They're not giving up either. They want a piece of this. They want to make up a place. They don't care if the door's being knocked off.
Manchester past Stavanger. Oh! Onto the grass goes Stavanger, forced off by the pink car of Manchester. Stavanger just being bullied off the tarmac.
Yeah, well, that's you could almost argue that was Stavanger who started all of that with UWTSD, and for their desserts, they got shafted by everyone else over the rest of the lap instead. That was great racing to watch. Absolutely.
I don't know about you at home. I can't keep up with this. I'm doing my very best. If you're thinking I can't keep up, try talking about it. Stavanger in 14th then. At Manchester ahead of them, having pretty much forced them onto the grass. Stavanger not having a great mid-race then. 13 minutes or so left to go. Cardiff up into 18th, but I really don't think that's going to be enough from Cardiff. They're battling it out with Lassonde for 18th position, and it is a bit testy. Lassonde looking to the inside. They've got the better line, but can Aaron outbreak them for Cardiff? Yes, Cardiff solidly up into 18th. Having had an absolute drama, got forced off, a load of crash, and I just don't think this is going to be enough from Cardiff to get them into a really decent position. I don't think they've got enough time. 13 and a half minutes to go of this race. Yeah, 8 laps set by University of Glasgow, who are nearly 5 seconds ahead of the second place car Hull. I just don't think Cardiff have got enough time. There's enough tarmac to get close to the rest of these drivers. Cardiff already now looking at TU Ilmenau, trying to get past there. The gap between them just over half a second. Looking to the inside, but remember this track is really unforgiving. If you get adventurous with your line, chances are you're going to be bounced right back off it. Hull B team are doing an absolutely outstanding job. Hats off to them. Really, really impressive stuff. They're in 10th, and they've managed to hold off some really established teams. Bear in mind that this is only their second race. Well, technically, it's only their first race. They've got DNF by the server in race 1. This is their first event of the series, and Hull B team are doing an absolutely outstanding job against some properly established teams like Wolverhampton and Oxford University. Drawing away from Wolverhampton now, our Hull B team.
After the calamities of the first half of the race, it's all settling down a little bit now, isn't it?
It is indeed. Elsewhere in the comments, we always talk about the comments when things begin to settle down, and at Andre says, send it, Kingston. Sven Grube says, that's our man again. Kel, thundering through the field. I reckon he should try racing Sierras. Elsewhere, Andre says, happy to see my Racing Adrenaline Motorsport Pixum on the live stream. Sven Grube also going in there with smooth operator. Mobola J Adipoja, I apologise, I probably butchered that, but he says, what game is this? This is Assetto Corsa, the original, as pointed out by Andre on the comments on the live stream. So thank you very much to Andre for replying to that one for us. Meanwhile, you're on board with Bolton, who are in 7th place.
Very nice recovery drive.
They've clawed their way up. It's a great recovery drive, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save the championship for them.
Well, we've still got 2 rounds to go. Anything can still happen, but yeah, no, this has been a real dent for them. I feel like it's going to be a 2-horse race as we leave this round. And by 2-horse race, I mean one starting with a 30-lap head start against the other one. But yeah, it's some good driving from Bolton tonight. It's nice to see them, after the last 2 rounds, they needed a good run. It's just a shame that they're hampered with a 1-driver penalty tonight.
Yes, indeed. So they're looking for a way round Aberdeen then. Looking to the inside. Can they make this work? Probably not. Oh, hang on a minute. Out dragging them through that rapid right-hander. Foot to the floor they go. And that is absolutely outstanding from Bolton, who've just clipped the curb and managed to hold it through there. Looking at Aberdeen, who are thinking, oh, hang on a minute, I might have a way round here. But no, Bolton stick with it, and they've got up into 6th. Oh, that was an overtake and a half. Fantastic stuff from them. And now they're all over Yui. And oh, dearie me. Oh, my days. Unbelievable.
Who was that?
That was Yui, who made a mistake. Wolverhampton, Bolton, I should say, went straight through. And then, bless their hearts, I think it was it Aberdeen got caught up in it. They just drove straight into Yui, and I don't think they had a choice. From what I could see, Yui made a mistake under pressure from Bolton, and then Aberdeen just went straight into them.
Oh, that was a lucky escape for sure for Bolton there. What a shame for Aberdeen. That's dropped them 7 or 8 places now, that incident. What a real shame.
Absolute carnage throughout both races this evening then. I can't
Wolverhampton.
imagine you're going to get this on Eurovision.
No, I don't think you can either. Wolverhampton as well, just going around the outside of a hole B there. That was a nice clean pass from them. And meanwhile, behind, here we are, Manchester with yet again another gaggle of cars. This has kind of been the story of Manchester tonight, hasn't it?
Yeah, they seem to have it where they're not quite the fastest car on track, but they're really great at defensive driving. They know the line of the circuit. So they manage to hold up everyone, and inevitably someone makes a mistake, and sometimes they come off pretty well from it. Looking a little bit tail happy there through that right-hander, clipping the curb as they go. They're under pressure from University Welsh Trinity St David, who, yet again, trying to recover. They've been subject to other people's driving twice now in this race, and I really do feel for the other Welsh team. I really do.
Yes, no.
On a lighter note, they are driving a yellow car. Does that constitute a punch or no? Oh, hello. Here we go. Looking to the inside, trying to find a way round. Manchester will undoubtedly know that University Welsh Trinity St David are there, and it is just a matter of time. Can Manchester hold them off, or will they make an unforced error? Oxford and Salford, meanwhile, battling it out for 8th. Salford up into 8th. They've just overtaken Oxford University. They've made it stick. Oxford, some great defensive driving, but just not enough to hold off the Northerners from Salford.
I think there may have been some contact there, Giles, because they were battling for 7th and 8th before, and Victoria's now gone up into 7th. So I feel like we've just caught them as they were both coming back on track, and Victoria's managed to sneak past the two of them.
Nicely done from Victoria, the spoils of war. Meanwhile, they're looking to the inside there. Hang on a minute.
Now that's Oxford.
That seems a little bit...
That's one way of getting past your foes, Oxford. Okay, fair enough. And...
I was going to say, I thought that was the move that they used by police officers. And Manchester are off! Manchester are off! And they can't seem to get started.
Right.
They're trying to... Don't reverse onto track now! You're going to get into the... Oh!
And that's Lasson's narrowly avoiding them. Gosh, there wasn't really much Manchester could do there. They were stuck in the wall. The only thing they could do was go back, but a lot of drivers having to take avoiding action there.
I would have waited.
Very, very messy.
I would have waited for the pack to come past. I know it's driver position, but you're going to take out innocent drivers if you reverse out onto the racing line. University Welsh Trinity St David will be rather pleased with that. They're up into 11th now, clawing back the places that they lost out on, having started in 3rd. Salford behind them are just around about 0.8 of a second behind them in 12th.
That got very messy. Something definitely happened in that lap there. That's twice we saw Oxford and Salford come together. And here comes Oxford again now, and Victoria for 7th.
Oxford coming past Victoria for 7th. Oxford nursing a really badly beaten car. Take a look at the front right of the bonnet on Oxford's car. Diving to the inside, Victoria going very defensive, flames spurting from the exhaust. But Oxford are up into 7th. Behind them, UWR might try and make a move past Oxford as well.
And they've done just that.
Looks to me like UWR have got through, and Victoria is going sideways onto the grass. Go Victoria, they're down into 9th.
This is absolutely messy. I told you, that's it. Gloves are off. They all want a piece of the action now. They don't care. Someone set the standards. We're going to go punchy. Everyone's getting a thorough rub down now, Giles. It's like... I'm
fairly convinced that Oxford used a move that the police do to stop cars when they went past. Was it Wolverhampton that they knocked out? Who was it they pushed off?
Yeah, yes. It was Salford. That move was on.
Salford. I'm fairly certain that that's the sort of thing that the coppers do when they try and stop a car.
Yes,
in certain cases.
It's the kind of moves which will keep me up throughout the night, as I'm sure people want to have a discussion on those kind of moves, but... we will wait and see on that. We're looking at Wolverhampton battling with Oxford over 7th. Meanwhile, Bolton have just made up another place whilst we've been chatting, passing UE and are now up into 5th position. Great recovery drive from them from 23rd on the grid on a track which really has been difficult to overtake on.
So what should be worth noting is you can see a lot of simulated damage on these cars. Remember, it is sim racing and no one has to pay out for repairs, which is probably a good thing because the bonnet on Wolverhampton's car is absolutely trashed as they try and find a way around Oxford University's racing team. Looking to the inside there, squeezing on through the right-hander. They've just about got it. Oh, that looks to me like a bit of an echo between Cardiff and Glasgow. That's really interesting. Look at switching sides now, trying to find a way round. It's only a matter of time. Wolverhampton piling on the pressure to Oxford University.
Right, come on, Mr.
Oxford
Lewis.
being very aggressively defensive.
Very aggressive, but they've set the standard now. No, that Mr. Lewis won't take too kindly to people doing stuff like that as well. If Mr. Lewis has had that kind of treatment, I think it'd be safe to say we're going to see him return the favour at the next opportunity.
Let's definitely stick with this then. It's the battle for 7th as Oxford University hold off University of Wolverhampton. University of Wales Trinity St David up into 10th, having overtaken the whole B team. We really do want to stick with this because Oxford have just laid down the gauntlet. I think they may have just invited their own demise here because I've got a funny feeling Wolverhampton will show no mercy when the opportunity presents itself to get up into 7th. And you've got 4 minutes to go, 14 laps set by Glasgow, who are well ahead, 10 seconds ahead of the second place car, Hull 18.
I'm saying that Oxford have now pulled out a second on Wolverhampton, so I'm wondering if they're nursing a bit of damage now, perhaps.
And this is what I was going to ask you, James. We've been talking about the damage. The bonnet on Wolverhampton's car has seen better days, to say the least. Now, that isn't just cosmetic for the game. It will have an effect on the car's performance in the simulation. Am I correct?
Correct, yes. So suspension, vehicle dynamics, it will all be impacted by these visual damages, which you can see, and it will actually affect the physics engine as well. We run at 50% damage.
That's interesting. University of Wales Trinity St David have got past Victoria. Victoria and University of Wales Trinity St David battling it out then for 9th position. Victoria just managing to hold on to it. But University of Wales Trinity St David are back up into the top 10. How far can they get back up the grid? They qualified in 3rd. They were started off in 3rd. A lot of early on action set them way back down the grid, and they will be determined to make up for lost positions as they look to the inside, and they got a break because they get the door closed on them by Victoria. Patience is key on this circuit, getting very close to the rear of Victoria. A little bit of contact by the looks of things, just trying to find a way around, waiting for that unforced error, piling on the pressure. UWTSD looking to the inside, looking to the outside, going to the inside, selling them a dummy. Fantastic stuff. And that is it. UWTSD are up into 9th. A really, really classy manoeuvre from the Welsh side. Absolutely brilliant. Victoria, though, will be trying to make that back up. They are not letting that position go as they cling on for dear life to the rear of UWTSD. And bear in mind, they've got the whole B team with full beam in their rearview mirror, as you can see on your screen there. It's a sandwich I wouldn't want to be in. Victoria just losing out now as UWTSD pull away. And if they were to check their mirrors, they might want to stop. Oh, I would say stop being defensive. Well, that's it, all gone. Hull, they were looking really positive, trying to get past Victoria, but oh no. And through go Stavanger, just taking full advantage of that off. That wasn't the complete unforced error. The tail just kicked out on Hull B team, and they ended up on the grass, inviting Ion to sail on through. Salford up in 11th, in 10th is Victoria.
Here we go,
UWTSD.
round 2, Giles.
UWTSD are in 9th. They want 8th. Guess who's in 8th? It's Wolverhampton.
No.
Now,
+1. It's Wolverhampton and Oxford again.
Wolverhampton and Oxford. I do apologise. Wolverhampton are well ahead of UWTSD. Wolverhampton have closed the gap then on the team that were, shall we say, a little bit aggressive and may live to regret it. Looking to the inside are Wolverhampton. They will show no mercy as they just miss out on an opportunity through there. Going round the outside very bravely, trying to slalom through and get onto the inside line. Oxford having none of it. A little bit of contact there through the left-hander. Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat here. This is absolutely fantastic.
And whilst this is all going on, Glasgow have just gone on to start their final lap. So this is UWR and Oxford coming around the last corner now to begin their final lap as well. It's now
going
or
to be
never.
a race for the line. This is going to be a race for the line. Wolverhampton and Oxford are the battle for 7th. James, please stay with this because I am so invested. I'm sure you are as well at home. Looking, not quite there. Trying to get through on the inside. Do they have it? They've got the line, they've got the acceleration, but Oxford, we know they're not willing to give the position up. And that's brilliant. They've gone through. Wolverhampton take the position from Oxford. They defend wildly. Oxford looking to the inside, but they haven't got enough room. That's fine. Unbelievable driving from Wolverhampton. If at first you don't succeed, try again and try again. They did. They've got through, and that's Oxford down to 8th position. University of Wolverhampton up into 7th as Glasgow crossed the line. 17 laps, completely unchallenged throughout the whole race. A dominant drive from the Glaswegians. In 2nd, a whole 13 seconds behind them. It's the Hull 18 crossing the line for 2nd place and then completing the podium in 3rd. Eventually, it's going to be Kingston.
Season best result for Kingston. They're in 3rd position. Well done, guys.
Congratulations to them. Southampton crossing the line in 4th.
Dan Kells.
In 5th, it's Bolton.
Yep, well done, Dan. Brilliant drive from 23rd on the grid to finish 5th.
Dewey are there in 6th. Class drive from them. Really good stuff. UWR, though, absolutely brilliant. Unfaltering in their pursuit of Oxford.
Oxford are out of fuel.
8th.
No, they're not. They're not going to finish 8th. They're out of fuel. It's a race to the line.
Are they going to finish?
UWTST.
No!
They pipped them to 8th. That's Oxford down to 9th on the line.
Unbelievable. It just keeps happening. James, I believe when you do write your autobiography, The Fat Lady Has Sung ought to be the title, because like you say, it really ain't over until the Fat Lady sings. And I am just stunned by the results that we're seeing here in Finland in the 2nd race for round 6 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. Unbelievable. Lassonde crossed the line in 19th.
Wow.
Cambridge and USM, 2 DNFs there. Cardiff finishing in 13th.
Well, good grief.
I'm exhausted. I am absolutely... let us know what you thought of that on the stream. Please let us know, because I'm just be over the moon. Sven Grube, what a boy. Mark Rossi, poor Manchester. Andre, nice one, Ben. Nice Kingston. Mega result, says Sven Grube. And Jack Whittle says, let's go, Dan. I need a cup of tea and a ginger nut.
Oh, I need much more than that after watching all of that, Giles. That was fantastic to watch. And it's great to see so many of the Bolton boys here supporting Jack as well tonight. Nicely done, guys. That was a heck of a recovery drive from 23rd to 5th there. But now that the checkered flag has waved on every single competitor, Giles, we can now officially say the Fat Lady has sung.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I don't think I had another race in me. Southampton on the drivers' chat have just said, can we have a lake on the outside of every corner?
I was not expecting anyone to fall into that, so I'm very, very sorry to see that Strathclyde fell into that trap. But it did make for some good entertainment, if not anything else.
It is giving Monaco vibes.
Definitely Monaco vibes going on there. However, I need to go and fetch our winners from race 1 and race 2, and then I think we should go and have a chat with them, Giles. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
5-minute break, guys. Go and grab your cup of tea, grab your ginger nuts, and whatever else you want to snack on. We'll be back in 5 with your drivers for the post-race interviews.
Grab your ginger nuts.
Grab your ginger nuts. There's another Montyism. Sorry, mother. See you soon.
And we are back with all the post-race coverage of round 6 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. I'm Giles Cosgrove. He's James Montgomery, and we are both exhausted. What a couple of races we have had. We've seen 2 winners on track this evening. We've seen Jonathan win for Salford and Jack win for Glasgow. Monty, your thoughts on the proceedings?
I feel like I'm going to have a busy evening and a busy week with a few protests coming in after all those calamities we saw. We've confirmed a theory today that cars do not swim in lakes very well. So from an engineering point of view, guys, if that ever comes up as a final exam question, we now know this is confirmed.
Al Clark, if you're watching, I want that question in my last exam.
And I think honestly, most of the university students did really well tonight. As I say, honourable mention though to Wilco and mistaking his horn for the pit teleports button. That's probably not going to go down well in the Cambridge camp. But it kind of had a bit of everything tonight, really, didn't it?
There was everything. There was server issues. There was a lot of contact. There were drive-through penalties, which then became DNFs. It was all happening. We had a job keeping up. So Albert, who commented saying, cheers, Giles, Monty and the team. More entertainment than Eurovision. Thank you. We really appreciate it because we have genuinely been all over the place, both in front of and behind the camera this evening. So we do appreciate that. And we hope you have enjoyed the coverage. We aren't finished yet, though. We are going to get talking. Well, we'd like to, but not yet, apparently, because well, is he there? Are you there, Jonathan?
I'm here, yeah.
Well, we can hear you. Unfortunately, we can't see you, mate.
It's okay, I don't have a webcam.
That would be why.
I see. That would be why. Not a problem at all. You won race 1 of round 6, which is great to see because we haven't heard a lot from Salford over the past series. So how does it feel to be on the top of the podium after what hasn't been the easiest of seasons for you guys?
I think we're quite relieved, actually. I wasn't sure we were going to get a win this year compared to how well we did last year. It's quite a big relief. Hopefully this will set the standard for us for the next race and round 8. But all in all, it was a good race.
What was the approach going in? Because it is a very, very technical track with very high-powered cars.
Well, I was talking to Monty before. I had never seen this track until last night at 11 p.m. when I went on to practice to pre-qualify.
Show off.
So, this was my first time seeing the track. It just kind of gelled with me. Set some time.
It just kind of gelled with you. Wow.
Yeah,
well,
we've, we did all the setups today, and it felt all good for us, really. Maybe I'll have to do that for all the remaining rounds. Just turn up an hour before the end of practice, and then maybe put that mindset into good use.
I love that. All good. All good. You won the race and you didn't even look at the track until last night. That was brilliant. Absolutely stunning. And it really does make that win all the more exciting. And you really did just manage to kind of keep your nose out of all of the drama going on behind you with a fairly solid lead. Was that any particular reason? Was there a different line that you were taking, or was it just a question of keeping out of the way of it and you were just able to open that up comfortably with the clear tarmac in front of you?
I think I saw at the start that there was someone came flying in behind me, and I thought there was definitely a jump start because I was thinking there's no way they've got that much speed already. And I think, was it Cardiff or was it someone else? I can't remember.
Cardiff was the one that got the drive-through for it and then got DNF'd as a result.
So I knew on the first lap when I had about a half a second to a second lead that the person behind me was definitely going to have a drive-through. And so for those first few laps, I just focused on keeping the speed up, like nailing all the apex and such, because it's a very flowing track. It's all about the keeping the average corner speed up, and that all worked out fine. And then for the rest of it, it was just about staying out of trouble. I did have someone spin in front of me at the very end, I think with 2 laps to go, because I think we had about a 5 or 6 second lead, and then someone spun in front of me on the last sector, so I narrowly avoided them, but then the lead went down to 2 or 3 seconds, so just had to make sure that I stayed out of trouble for the rest of it. But luckily I avoided them and came back with the win.
When you've got that much of a lead, I imagine it means you have got a little bit of room to maneuver. Thank goodness that you did. Congratulations on your win. That is absolutely stunning, Jonathan. Thank you ever so much for joining us, and very best of luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, look who it is again. You might as well just start coming in and joining us in the commentary box at this point, Jack.
Yeah, I was saying before, I hope you're not getting bored.
Not at all, not at all. It's always a pleasure to have you and your Nigel with us in the commentary box. Congratulations on yet another win, an absolute barnstormer of a win this time. I think it was about a 13-second lead you crossed the line with in first. I would say, I would love to talk to you about drama, but there was none for you. You just hit the gas and were off.
Yeah, I just got really lucky, I guess, at the start. I mean, much better start than I had last time out, and just made sure to cut off a hole so there's no chance. And from there, once you're in front and you're not having to worry about battling anyone, it's a lot easier just to get into a rhythm and just hit the lap times, which is very comfortable and very nice.
Were you as brave as Jonathan and just thought, you know what, I'll leave it until the day before, the evening before, and then I will learn the track and just come out and win? Were you that confident, or was there a bit more to it in your strategy?
I think he must have more talent than me, because I needed plenty of practice to get used to this tracking car. It's not my thing, but so I'm very impressed with him. As soon as the practice session was open, I was trying. I think I did 100 laps or so. So trying to get up to the pace. And it wasn't until go on.
What was your strategy for this race?
The strategy: go as fast as we can. I mean, we did have a couple of dilemmas with the track conditions were changing all throughout the start. So the warm-up was, I think, 94% grip, and then the actual race was 99%. And so we were debating about what pressures to run, because if you're slower track, you can run lower pressures and things like that. But yeah, in the end, the pressures were fine, and we were just able to run our race and go as is.
Now, not to be the commentator with the curse, because we've seen that happen time and time again. UWTSD, if you're still watching, I am so sorry. But in regards to the championship, you've got a clear lead. It's undeniable. And we're going to get onto the standings in a moment. Is there any holding you back, or have you got it in the bag?
I wouldn't say holding us back, but we've definitely got a challenge on our hands. I mean, Southampton are still within a race win or very close to it. So all it takes is for one of us to go off track, make a mistake, and bin it, and they're right in contention. There's still 2 rounds to go, so I wouldn't say it's.
It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet,
but it can. It can.
Well, I look forward to James keeping me posted with all the updates from round 7, because I should point out we were supposed to talk about it, and as you can imagine, things kind of got away from us this evening because it's all been rather dramatic. But I'm going on a well-earned holiday, and I won't be here for the next round. I will be on a plane to Nice. So have a great round, and I look forward to watching it with a pint at a bar in France somewhere. But
do yourself.
Thank you. I look forward to hearing all about it when I get back. Any hints as to the approach you'll be taking for the next couple of rounds, or will it be the same calm, steady, dominant driving that we've seen so far?
Probably not dominant. I mean, we used our Joker this round, so we were lighter than everyone. So next round, there's going to be loads of people. I mean, Southampton will be using a Joker, so they'll be quicker than us. Well, not quicker, but their car will be. So we'll just have to wait and see.
That's going to be great to watch. If you sat there at home and you're thinking, what am I doing in the next month? You're watching this. You're going to want to see it. Thank you ever so much, Jack. As ever, look forward to catching up with you at Williams HQ in July. That's Jack from Glasgow. Monty, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, just enjoying listening to those conversations there. I think Jonathan's pace in particular really impressed me. Jack, fair play to him. Three wins in a row for him, really. I appreciate how modest he's being, actually, because looking at the championship standings, yes, he has Glasgow have one hand on the cup now, but he's quite right. It's never over until it's officially over. And that fat lady hasn't sung for the season yet. It just takes one error. And to be fair, Glasgow, they had their bit of bad luck. You may remember in round 1 where they had the pace, but they just kept crashing everywhere. Hopefully that was their only hiccup of the season. But he's quite right. It only takes one hiccup, and we saw what happened to UWTSD this time. It happened to Southampton with the Formula Hybrid cars as well. you just don't know what's going to happen from round to round, and it's a very different breed of cars again for the next round. We're at Spa, and we are with, well, LMP cars, so nothing like these BMW Tourers which they've been using this time, so it may not suit them at all.
I am going to be gutted to be missing Spa. That's going to be absolutely incredible. Le Mans prototypes will be your next car at Spa. That's going to be fantastic. That will be on the 10th of June, so make sure you're there. And going into the 10th of June, going into round 7, the table will look something like this. We've got the updates, we've got the preliminary results for you from round 6. Over to you, James, to talk us through them.
Thank you very much, Giles. So these are all provisional results that you're seeing just now, guys. As you saw, there's quite a few incidents tonight, so there could be a few protests, so the final result may look a little different. But provisionally, Glasgow have won the round overall. A victory and a top 5 finish. That's got them the most points tonight, 92 out of 100 points. Good job. Southampton, though, not that far behind. They're on 85 points, so they're keeping that points mill going quite nicely. University of Hull rounding out the top 3 there with 79 points. And University of Salford, it's nice to see them back at the top here, now having 2 drivers and able to capitalise and get some good points in the rounds now. There they are in 4th and 78 points. UWTSD, I feel like it's going to be an evening of what might have been for them. Fair play, 70 points even after all those calamities in the second race, but with the pace that they had tonight, I thought they were on for a top 3 finish personally. UWE there in 6th on 68 points. Bolton, in spite of a penalty limiting them to half points in race 2, are there in 7th. Oxford in 8th. Wolverhampton 9th. And Victoria rounding out the top 10. Honourable mentions there to Aberdeen. Dundee, well done. Welcome back, guys, with a P12 finish on your race back. Kingston... That... 42 points. Did they really... They had a DNF in round 1, didn't they? In race 1. Yeah, so even with that P3 finish...
One of the DNF teams.
Yeah, so even with that P3 finish in race 2, because of the DNF in round 1, they only finished 13th overall tonight. Napier in 14th, Stavanger in 15th, Manchester, York, Ilomanu, Strathclyde, and... No,
that's interesting.
That's not the correct standings at all, because Belfast were definitely not in the race tonight. So I think I'm going to go and send a message to the team, just to ask them to double check things there before we go and have a look at that again.
I do wish we were as professional as Sky Sports, but it is a bit more Wayne's World and a little less, Sky. With us. I can only apologise.
Oh, what? Wayne's World. It's better than Wayne's World. It's Monty's World.
Well, a little more party on, but it's certainly not that we're not going to assault Sir Jackie Stewart, are we? we actually can recognise F1 royalty, unlike others.
Yes, that's one way of that's one way of describing it for sure. Yes. No, the team are just having a quick look at the results. Now that looks like perhaps someone's position's been put in the wrong one accidentally there. Not quite sure how that's happened, but. Do you know what? Because it's a relatively small position, the whole scheme of things, that's not going to upset the rest of the order. So let's go and have a look at what the standings are doing for the top, because that's really where it matters as we go into the final 2 rounds now, Giles, because...
it is indeed.
Glasgow, they're now 50 points ahead of Southampton. It's 100 points for a win. So as I say, that's one hand on the trophy, but there are 2 races left. There's a drop score. And there's one final engineering challenge as well, which has additional points for the teams to go for. So whilst they're comfortably in the lead, it's certainly not over yet, with a potential 225 points left for grabs. Stay tuned, guys. It's definitely not over yet. Southampton there in 2nd. Bolton in a very, very lonely 3rd position now. They're actually falling into the clutches of Hull, UWTSD, and Wolverhampton now, which is a shame to see after such strong momentum at the beginning of the year. But they've just kind of just fallen away now, which is a shame. Salford up into 7th, though. And Cardiff, even after all those calamities tonight, are still in the top 10.
I'm quite surprised by that. I'm not going to complain about it, but I'm not exactly, confident in that position, but there we are. It's Cardiff managing to cling on to a top 10, but they have got the University of the Basque Country, otherwise known as Vitoria, knocking on their door in 11th, with only about 7 points separating them.
Indeed, indeed. I've just been advised by the Discord team that's a slight whoops on their side there. That's supposed to be La Sonde, not Belfast, that we saw in P20 there. But as I say, guys, all these results are entirely provisional. I suspect there's going to be quite a few protests after tonight's racing as well. What was your moment of the night, Giles?
I'll be honest with you, Wolverhampton and Oxford, absolutely. That was absolutely stunning, having on the edge of my seat Oxford getting their elbows out and Wolverhampton not giving them an inch. Absolutely brilliant racing. Not entirely convinced all of it was particularly legal, but we'll find out about that in the post-race debrief later. Enjoy that one, Monty.
Yes.
But as from where I'm sat, it was just brilliant racing to be talking about.
Absolutely. Made for good entertainment. And guys, I hope those at home, you enjoyed tonight's show, because it definitely did not disappoint, to say the least.
No, it didn't. So thank you ever so much for joining us. James will be back on the 10th of June from Spa with the Le Mans prototypes. I will be sipping something alcoholic in France, and we'll both catch you live from Williams HQ in July ahead of the Real Formula Student for the final. So we've got all of that to come. Make sure you're there. But for now, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Monty. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you soon.